is Rory O'Toole.
And my name is Matt Schultz.
And this is How to Be,
the podcast where we discuss ancient wisdom, modern hacks, paperback self-help books, and pithy platitudes,
in the hopes of figuring out the best way to live this one precious and wild life.
Do you struggle with insecurities? Are you tired of trying to fake it until you make it? If so, join us as we discuss confidence.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Roar.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I like your little Handmaid's Tale bonnet.
My big headband that I got to dress up as Carrie Bradshaw for my 35th birthday, to wear the same outfit she wore for her 35th birthday in the opening of season 4, the agony and the ecstasy. An amazing episode of the series. Perhaps the best episode of the series.
I would need to meditate. I would need to pray on that a little bit.
Okay, but think about it a little bit, because it's also the it's the episode with when she drops the cake.
Hey, Marilyn Monroe over here. She's picking it up. She's picking up the cake.
It's also Friar Fuck.
Le Surprise.
They're the best. It also has my favorite line in it, maybe ever, which is when Miranda goes, "I used to masturbate to a busboy who was mean to me once. What do you think that means?" And everyone just looks at her.
Away. Oh yeah, that was like a hard relate for me. I really understood where she was coming from. Now, I've finally made a friend in Israel. Actually, no, I've made a couple friends in Israel, but I have a new friend in Israel who's like as Sex and the City as me.
Really? That's so hard to find.
Like deep cuts, like sends me a random voice message with just like a Bitsy Von Muffling quote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is deep. Yeah, like every time I go to my brother's house, I go, "Where's baby boy Bronson?" And they're like, "What?"
Wow. You know what he hadn't seen yet until today?
The second
Charlie,
movie?
No Fillers.
Oh, you were so happy to bring that photo around. The actress Kristen Davis was, of course, much talked about when And Just Like That came out the first season, because her face, she had a lot of work done right before filming. And she recently dissolved her fillers and she looks stunning. 1,000 times better.
And there's this picture of her and she's just ravishing with this elegant, aged, unfilled face and this thick, fluffed up from the humidity of her vacation or whatever hair. Oh my goodness. I've never seen her look so sexy.
You know what? You're probably right.
That was always the thing about her, that she was pretty.
But not sexy.
And now, with that aged, elegant face. Why are women afraid of aging? Everyone looks better a little aged.
Definitely that's a thesis statement you hold true to.
Yeah.
And you're out here to appreciate an aged woman's face, and we appreciate it. We appreciate you appreciating a wrinkly old face. So I watched, as we talked about in an episode 2 episodes ago, the one before budgeting, right? Yeah. I watched It's Pat, the It was so funny because my friend came into town and she had heard us talk about it on the podcast and was like, let's watch it. And I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to find it. And then it was just like on YouTube.
I need to watch it too. Oh my goodness.
Can I tell you some facts about It's Pat?
Tell me, yeah.
One is that it was pulled after one day in theaters and made $60,000 against an $8 million budget.
How much?
8
2,000?
million. 60,000 against 8 million.
It's amazing that it made 60,000.
And that it was rated the seventh
okay.
worst movie of the 20th century.
We just accept these movie budgets when we hear them. Where did those millions go?
I don't know. Movie budgets used to be so much bigger, obviously. Like now they're like either huge, like Marvel movies, or like shoestring, which is interesting. Like $8 million in what, 1994? 5? That was a lot of money for a comedy.
I just think I could make that movie with less money.
You could, because literally there's like 4 sets and it's less than an hour and a half. All that money went to paying Quentin Tarantino to do a rewrite of the script. But can I say, okay, it was obviously a terrible movie, but I have seen much worse, okay?
Okay, could you feel the Tarantino in it?
No.
I think I know we fit together. I just don't know how we fit together. Was that line as I remember it?
Yeah, basically.
Memory burn.
But there are much worse movies that I've seen. You know, The Village comes to mind, or 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Well, the great insult of movies like The Village and 3 Billboards is that they masquerade as intelligent.
I hate that. I hate a movie with promise that doesn't live up to it in any
Pat
way.
makes no such claim to be about an important issue.
Although it is. So I would say that it's
Although it turned out to
definitely,
be about the seminal issue of our times.
actually, yeah. And I would say that it's not anything that you would ever gasp out loud as like offensive, because the whole idea, again, like we talked about, ended up being true, that Pat's gender identity, everyone's dying to know what it is, but they are completely unbothered by it. And it it really manifests itself in a lot of like puns, a lot of jokes, like, oh, I broke my nuts, and then everyone's like, oh, and then
Yeah,
Pat
and then
pulls
have a
out.
bag of nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say what's more offensive is that they portray this like gender ambiguous person as kind of gross and pathetic.
Yeah.
Many more offensive portrayals of the genderqueer trans community come to mind, like Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah, my gay 7th grade teacher showed that to us in class as an example of homophobia.
Oh, okay. And I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Haven't seen it.
Me neither, but I can assume.
I'll put it on the list.
I can definitely assume. You know, so no one need watch it, but you know,
I think I was like a little attracted to Pat.
what a wild time. Well, unfortunately, they do portray Pat as disgusting, nasally, snotty, idiot.
But I think, yeah, like something about Pat was alluring to me in the same way that it was alluring to the protagonist.
Yeah, the preppy neighbor who falls in love with him.
Yeah.
Or them.
Or them. They're Pat. they just need to re-release the movie as their Pat.
It's actually a movie you can't make anymore, not because it's so offensive, but because there's so much language now around gender androgyny or gender non-binaryism that it would just be it's a moot point.
Yeah. It gets very tricky in Israel because the word for she is he.
Is he?
Yeah, he in Hebrew
Oh.
means she.
Oh, okay.
So I asked someone the other day what their pronouns were, and they said he. But we had been kind of going in and out of Hebrew and English, so I was like, which he?
And what did he say?
It turned out to be English he,
He.
which is who.
He who. That's what they
That's
should have
funny.
said.
That's like a
He
real
who.
what's that? Abbott and
Who's on
Costello.
first? Who's on
Yeah.
first? He who.
Who? Her?
How's your budgeting going?
Oh, kind of okay. Okay, first of all, like, good. I have saved some money. I wrote down things that I don't spend money on that I want to in a week. And it comes out to be about $30 a week of resistance to spending. So that's like $120 a month, which is, nothing to sneeze at.
You know what? It's not.
It's nothing to sneeze at. I'll
No.
take it.
What comprises that 30?
Um, Coffee is some of it. Flowers, like cut flowers.
Oh, romantico.
A candle.
Wow. You're a real women's wear daily. A nice piece of Dove chocolate, some Epsom salt for the bubble bath, a case of low fat yogurt.
A tub. A tub of low fat yogurt. Yeah, so that's really the most of it. Like little things that make life a little bit nicer and more beautiful. Cut those out. There will be no flowers in the house.
You can't buy yourself flowers.
I can't, I can't buy myself flower. I really can't. And yeah, and then I had a weak moment this weekend. I bought a paper newspaper, like the weekend edition, the fat one, because
Okay.
I thought it'd be like nice to read over Shabbat.
Okay.
That in and of itself was 30 shekels.
Are you absolutely kidding? 30 shekels, not dollars.
30 shekels.
Which is how many?
Like $7.
Wow. How was it reading it over Shabbat?
I only read one article.
Yeah. Confidence is what we're talking about today. Confidence. What is confidence? Confidence.
I heard an interesting definition of confidence today.
Let's hear it.
This comes to us from our friend Claire. Confidence is the belief that if you fail, you'll be okay and you'll be able to try again. And it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. That's true.
I
That's
don't
sort
know
of
if
like
that's how I would think of confidence off the top of my head. I would think of confidence as an implicit trust that you won't fail, but I actually think that maybe it's on the money, that it's a sense that, yeah, like I can try things, I can go for things, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say confidence is a belief that you can do something or be something in a way that is pretty proficient,
Hmm.
But what Claire brings up is a good point. It's like it's more of a confidence about life itself,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you think of yourself as a confident person, a
Uh,
confident woman?
I don't think about myself. I think of myself as competent. I think of
Competent.
myself as someone who is quite capable of really doing anything that needs to be done. Now, Sam always says, people, people aren't confident like you, Rory. Like, you're very confident. And what does he say? Oh, you don't care what people think about you. Now, on the
Mm,
surface, that seems like a compliment, but actually, it makes me sound like a psychopath.
no,
To
no.
not care about what people think about you is like a little sociopathic. It's like Bethany Frankel.
I think that there are two ways of looking at it. One is that you don't care the effect you have on others, which is sociopathic.
Yeah.
And the other one is you don't spend all night worrying that people are judging you for just like being yourself.
Yeah, I definitely don't do that. I don't
Some
usually
people do.
replay like social scenarios.
Hmm.
Doesn't really, sometimes I do, but not too often. Yeah, I think I'm a confident person, but I think that I wouldn't think of myself as a confident person. It's just a compliment I often receive.
Hmm.
So that's why I think that way.
Okay, and there's another dimension of confidence, which is like Susan Sarandon and Friends, like you own the room when you walk in.
Oh, yeah.
You walk into the room and you own the room. And I mean, it's maybe this is just my own mental baggage, but for me the idea of confidence is like very wrapped up with like sexual confidence,
Oh, interesting.
like the ability to be attractive
Oh, interesting.
and secure mates.
See, I'm always just confident is what I try to get people to see me as after I win them over with my personality.
Mm.
That's a Sex and the City reference.
Yeah, like I know this gay guy who's just like such a looks exactly the way gay guys are supposed to look.
Yeah,
And now that's not everybody's type. Okay, it happens to not be my type,
right.
but we all acknowledge it as the
The
thing.
type.
Yeah. And versus like me, I could very well be many people's type, but I'm not the ting, you know? I can just hear my mom like listening to this and texting me like, "You are the ting." Um,
Well, what do you think? So you don't think you're confident? That can't be.
well, okay, I'm confident in my intellectual abilities,
Okay.
my vocabulary,
You're
as you
very
know.
confident, bordering arrogant in your command of the language, English language. How are you? Are you confident with your Hebrew?
Depends on the setting, but generally speaking, yes.
Are you confident with your Aramaic?
Not as much as I should be. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that made me feel a lack of confidence, especially as a young adolescent, and to me, that's the other thing. The whole issue of confidence to me really comes down to that age. That was when I felt the most insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I feel a lack of confidence today, it's like I'm transported back to that time.
Well, that is the worst time for most people.
And yeah, it's about my looks.
Oh, it was all
Like
about the
they thought
looks.
that I would never find love.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. Totally. Like if I'm ever in a situation where I have to do something remotely athletic, there is not a shred of confidence in me because I just picture having to play line soccer, being the weakest link on the team, or kicking the ball back behind me.
Yeah, everyone crowd in. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. And then, the thing is that when you don't have confidence, people are like, you just need to be more confident. And okay, so like when a time that I felt particularly insecure. This is probably my biggest insecure period after adolescence, was the 1 year after graduating from college.
Okay.
I was so confused. What am I doing with my life? I should have more money. I should have more success. I don't know where this is leading. I don't look good enough. I'm not going to find love. And I felt like I was dating a lot that year because it was like the dating apps were new. So
Uh-huh.
there was just like this ability to like be like, I'm going out on a date. It was like in a TV show
Oh,
where
totally.
people are always going out on a date.
Yeah.
I was always going out on a date, but nothing ever worked. And I really felt like it was because they could smell desperation on me.
Do you still feel that way
Well,
in
no.
hindsight?
Do I still feel like that was what like in hindsight, is that my evaluation of the situation?
Yeah, like were you desperate and could they smell it? Because I could see
I
that.
was desperate. I think some of them could smell it. I think also part of it was that I didn't know what I was looking for
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't dating effectively, dating like a businesswoman. What's that book Charlotte reads? Date the way you work.
I don't know.
Something like that. I it was just so hard to be confident, and people were like, fake it till you make it, but like it's really hard to fake it when the sense you have is that the confidence comes from having the tings.
Yeah, fake it till you make it is really hard. I mean, it's not the worst advice, but what 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 does faking it till you make it entail? Like what's point A, B, C of that? Like power poses? Like
Yeah,
get in front of the mirror and be a lion.
yeah, it's power poses. And the thing about power poses, and this is also true about affirmations, is that it's really hard not to feel like a loser when you're telling yourself how worthy you are in the mirror.
Dude,
Because
it's
it's an
just
inherently loserly thing to do, isn't it?
exactly. Actually, you're so right. You should not do that because it is too pathetic. It's only losers would do that.
And actually, they've done research about this, and this is fascinating research, that affirmations work if you already feel good about yourself. Like if you already feel good about yourself, they will pump you up. I'm good. I'm worthy. I've got this. You can give yourself a pep talk and it will really like improve your mood and your self-worth. If you already feel bad about yourself, it makes you feel worse because you're like, I am worthy. No, I'm not. Like
Yeah, I remember, okay, so similar to your dating situation was when I was constantly looking for a job, like a good job, a real job, and I went on
Mm,
30,000 interviews and was always like the second choice, like the other finalists they didn't choose. And I remember one time standing in a mirror before the interview doing power poses and I was like, this is the linchpin I've been missing.
this
Because
one
I had just read an article about it and they're like, that's what you need to do. So I'm like standing in the mirror. It's all quiet and weird in this like corporate bathroom, and I'm like, bah, bah, bah. Went to the interview, Bomo. I actually did worse, I think.
yeah.
And I remember being very surprised that those power poses didn't work. It's like we're always looking for like the little answer, the little sugar on top that like is actually the key that we haven't been incorporating.
I know. Well, it's like manifesting, but
Yeah.
this was this was such an interesting time in our shared life together
Hmm.
when I could not get a man for the life of me. And you could not get a job for the life of you.
Yeah, it was crazy and it was just over and over again, the dates, the interviews, the dates, the interviews. And it was like years. People might think we're talking about a 6-month period. We're talking about the better
It
part of
was
our
a long
20s.
time.
It was like literally our 20s.
Yeah, and we would be like, "Do you think I'll ever be with someone? Do you think I'll ever have a job?" Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you will. You would come for each other.
But come on, it's like after the 12th final interview,
Yeah.
you must have been wondering what is wrong with her.
And yeah, and the confidence certainly goes down with each failed attempt.
Absolutely. So, okay. And I didn't get this job, but they said that like if I wanted feedback, they would give it to me. So I reached out to the guy. So I was trying to decide if I should do that. Should I get feedback from the
Yeah.
person who didn't give me the job? Because I was worried that his feedback wouldn't be totally honest because you can't like, oh, we didn't choose you because you're a woman and there's too many women in this industry. You know what I mean? Maybe it was that. You
Yeah, it's
could be
like
that simple,
necessarily a lie.
or like you live out of state. Maybe that was
Mhm.
it because I was gonna have to relocate. And then I was worried that maybe it was like he was gonna say some things that would give me the yips for my next job interview.
Mhm.
Get in my head. Like
Yeah.
your power poses weren't powerful enough. You didn't project confidence. You said
Mhm.
like too much. And like I love like working. So, but I did anyway. I reached out to him because I was like, maybe he has another job that he'll one day want to give me. And then he just never responded.
Oh, he was like, that was a fake offer, and you didn't take a hint, and that's why we didn't take
Yeah, that's why we didn't hire you because you can't take it in.
Can't take a hint. That was just, I was just being nice. No, there's no. The feedback is you didn't get the job. That's the feedback.
Oh,
Now, like also with confidence and weight. Dare we?
oh yeah, we could. I mean,
I kind of want to tell that story of going shopping.
oh yeah, that story was amazing.
So like, I've always thought that I'm fat, but I've always been skinny. So my thought that I was fat was a delusion. And I kind of knew that it was a delusion. I kind of knew that like if I told my friends like I feel so fat, they'd be like, "Oh no, you're not." And like there's and now that's not the response anymore. Now
Oh,
the
I know.
response is it doesn't matter.
Or you look great.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so funny because like my inner sense of self was so much bigger than I actually was.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm even bigger than him.
Than your fake sense of self when you were
Yeah,
skinny.
so now I'm still misaligned and I find myself trying to squeeze into the large at the store, and the woman coming up to me being like, "You need the extra large, the extra large." I'm like, "Oh, you see it too?" I'm like, "Come on, this is my private delusion." For years it was private. It was my private delusion. And now it's public. And
Yeah.
and it's almost like upped the ante on confidence a lot because now I'm like, okay, I've got some weight on me, so how am I going to carry it? You know,
How am I gonna
I tried to lose
saunter
it.
into the room?
I tried to lose it. That didn't work. So now it becomes, how do I carry it?
Sure.
And
Boom,
you want to
bada
carry it.
boom, bada boom, bada boom.
Boom. Yeah, like, I don't want to walk into the room as a failed twink. I want to walk into the room as a thriving bear.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Absolutely. Well, that's the nice thing about the gay community. There's a spot for everyone if you embrace.
Yeah, isn't there in the straight world too, though?
Oh, really? For women?
Men love thick women.
No, they're like, their idea of a thick woman in society is J Lo.
No, you know what I was thinking about is like, okay, so like if you're like an ass man,
Okay.
if you're an ass man in the gay world, like, okay, there are like men with nice, juicy butts that you can enjoy.
Uh-huh.
But if you're a straight ass man, there's really no limit on how big a woman's butt can be.
Derriere can be.
Like sometimes you see a butt out in the world that's truly the size of a dining room table.
But this is the thing, though. This is the thing about that is like just because you're, say, quote unquote, an ass man, it doesn't mean that you want the biggest ass in the world. You know, like it just means that you have a preference, and you probably have a specific preference for
No,
size,
men
shape.
love like exaggerated.
Some, not all, certainly not all.
But they're out there. There are men who want
I
the
don't
dining
know.
room table.
I think that it's becoming obviously like a bigger tent for all moo moo wearing women these days. But I think that is in really recent, like literally the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there was sticks. Like I remember growing up and they were like, Giselle, such a curvy model. That's what they used to say.
Oh yeah. I and Bridget Jones. We've talked about Bridget Jones.
Being my goal weight,
The skinniest
130.
woman I've ever met.
Yeah, 132 pounds. Are you kidding me? In what universe is that an overweight person?
Or Kate Winslet in Titanic. James Cameron's bold choice to go with a plus-sized woman for that role. And we were like, oh yeah, it's very like realistic to the times because heavier women were considered beautiful back then. It's like she literally just had like soft cheeks because she was 17.
Yeah, so I mean, it is really it's really hard to get confident, especially also like I know you were talking about how much you love an aged woman, but to like it's hard to age, and especially because you were also talking about how like your confidence comes from your sex appeal. I mean, older women know a more irrelevant demographic, really.
For sex appeal.
Yeah, if people only want to talk to you because they're interested in your sex appeal.
Well, that was really covered in Feud, Betty Davis versus Joan Crawford.
Okay.
Like these aged Hollywood hags. I'm using sexist language because like the show itself, like in Ryan Murphy's like view, is sexist. So I'm describing it through his eyes. These ancient Hollywood hags still trying to like win influence with the producers through their sexuality.
Through their
When the producers
wiles.
are like, ooh.
Yeah, I've witnessed that in the workplace with older women. It's very
Really?
sad. Yeah. It's like a different generation, you know. Okay, so say you're not a confident person and we're already in adulthood. Is there a way to build confidence later in life? There definitely is, I think.
That is a great question. What do you think?
I think first and foremost is you have to start being aware of the way that you talk to yourself, your inner monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I looked in the mirror yesterday, and I was like, you look like a troll. And I was like, is that the way you want to speak to yourself, Furry?
Yeah, but like, are we really into monitoring thoughts? Aren't we anti-monitoring thoughts?
Oh, I think we're into being aware of our thoughts and how, and not believing in them.
So. You're right, not believing in them.
So the first step is saying, like, am I constantly saying horrible things about the way I am, the way I look, the way I think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like stop looking at like people like pages on Instagram that make you feel bad about yourself, like hot influencers. Like start watching like the Connors.
Yeah, watch old episodes of Roseanne.
Yeah, like change your sense of what's normal to something that's honestly more realistic.
Actually, my friend was telling me that he recently watched The First Wives Club and was struck by how yellow everyone's teeth were.
Oh, yeah, you've talked to me about this before. The changing standards for tooth whiteness.
Yes, it's crazy. And I think it's something that's happened in the last 5 years, especially because everyone famous or otherwise, even just people in the world, have like big white, they're hideous veneers, turkey teeth, as they say in England.
Yeah.
They go to Turkey and get fake teeth.
Should I get my teeth whitened?
In Turkey?
No, just I was doing those whitening strips for a while. They really work.
They do work. I got some from my dentist and they're helping. But yeah, it's like also I think I sent you this video of this woman who is like character actress, I guess. And she was like all the things that all the work I've had done just to look average. And she went through everything she's
Mm,
done to her face and it's like lip filler, lip blushing, like women like get their lips tattooed
Reddit.
reddened. You know, upper breasts where they take away your hooded eyes, like obviously
Mm,
Botox, obviously like you know filler or fat removal or yada yada. It's like so
just to
grotesque.
play a normal woman.
Yeah, it feels very grotesque. It's like I can see the people in the future, which I don't usually like to do, being like people used to do insane. Like the remember, you know how like they'll tell you the beauty secrets of your like around Elizabethan time women used to pluck their hairline because it was considered so beautiful to have like a huge hairline, like a
Yeah.
five head. Like this is
Yeah.
what I think we're doing now.
Mm, but don't you think also that they'll be so deeply modified in the future that they'll be like, can you believe people used to walk around with just the bones that jut out of your gums instead of capping them with perfect, just whatever
Um,
random bone pops through your flesh, that's what you smile with? Like, how barbaric.
yeah, I mean that's more of a linear progression of beauty standards as opposed to one where like there's something totally different.
Well, I think it will definitely change, but also think that we move where I think what's linear is moving from less modified to more modified. Like, will there ever be a period again like the 70s? Like, you look at movies in the 70s and the people were so normal looking. They had yellow teeth. Their faces were like whatever.
Shiny.
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett was the most beautiful woman in the world.
She looks a little
Would
dry.
She wouldn't stand a chance today.
Yeah.
She was gorgeous, but like she didn't have that Instagram face. Her smile was like a little boxy.
Yeah, not a full lip.
She didn't have a full lip. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, well, I think this brings us to something we talk about points on the table,
Mm-hmm.
which are what are the points that you're leaving on the table? The realistic things that you could do to improve the way you look and takes, increase your point average,
I know. I'm constantly thinking about like if I became famous, what would they be doing to me? And I want to know. I want to know and I want it done. I think my biggest point on the table right now is clothes.
Oh, see, that's a good example. So, like, do you need a haircut? Do you need new clothes? Do you need to wear more makeup? Do you need to go to the dentist?
You have dirty nails.
Do you have dirty nails? Do you?
Everyone listening to this right now, especially men, men sometimes have just too long nails.
Ew, hideous.
Everyone take a look at your nails right now. They should be short and clean.
I'm getting my nails done today. Um, all these things that you're just sort of leaving out there, you're not taking advantage of the full spread you have out there.
Yeah, it's like this framework is based on like the 10-point system. Oh, she's a 10. And how many points are you leaving on the table? They're yours to take, but you're not taking them.
Yeah. I've always
Terrible.
wanted to go into a medical esthetician or a plastic surgeon's office and be like, I have $2,000, make me look better. See
I
what they would
mean,
say.
I would love to have a personal shopper, but I can't even afford the clothes when I buy them myself. I assume that with the personal shopper, it's extra. I would love a wealthy patron, like in Great Expectations,
Sure.
who takes me out to get a new wardrobe of clothes.
Oh yeah, a makeover scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really do think that is one of the biggest differences between the rich and the not rich, which is just like how fresh their clothing looks.
Yeah. I mean, all the services that they can get, how fresh they look.
How, yeah,
Certainly not.
but
Although,
they're
like,
not very confident people.
well, there's this, I feel like there's a confidence paradox almost. Like, the more arrogant you are, actually, the more insecure you are.
Who could ever leave me, baby, but who could stay?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's something paradoxical about confidence where a lot of people think they're better than everyone
Mm-hmm.
and worse than everyone kind of at the same time.
Exactly. It's like they're very easily wounded.
And most of us are just kind of normal. How about that?
Yeah, but have you ever met a really arrogant person and wondered
Yes.
how they get through life, what it's like for them to never think? It's like the paradox of perfectionism, where it's like you want to be people who are perfectionists have such a hard time with criticism
Mm,
because it means they're not perfect.
yeah.
But in order to be perfect, you have to be able to make yourself
Take
better.
criticism.
Yeah. You know, it's like what Claire said, confidence is the belief that if you're not doing something well, you can try again. But really
Yeah.
arrogant people don't believe that.
They need to believe a story about themselves.
Yeah.
And so they can't admit to stumbling
Right.
occasionally.
Right. Now, I'm overall, I would say, a confident person, but I don't do much well. Or
You don't do much well.
yeah, or much the best. I'm not really the best at really anything besides my personality, having a personality.
No one's the best at anything.
Okay, yeah. But some people are like, I'm a really good tennis player.
Hmm.
You know? Like I feel like you're like, I'm a really good writer.
I do feel like I'm a good writer. Also, I remember like a few years ago, I was sitting with friends and I was saying like, I wish there was like one field of study that I knew about really deeply because I feel like there's nothing. And my friend was like, you kind of know like a lot about Judaism. I was like, oh, I guess I do. And that was the start of me thinking about going to rabbinical school.
Oh, see? And now you know a lot about Judy, even more.
Even more.
Okay,
Hyper well.
so you have it going on.
Well, you've got baking.
No.
Oh, you know what I made today? Bread pudding.
Yum.
Can't wait to crack into that. It's in the fridge right now.
Getting all gooey,
Yeah, I think.
congealed.
Yeah, it needs to be nice and congealed.
I'm not the best.
You have the best memory of literally anyone.
That's true. You know what? Actually, when you were texting me about like when we are going to record, even though we talked about it like 2 days before, I was gonna I was gonna bring up this during the call, which is like, so like you have a terrible memory, but do you ever feel confident in your memories?
No.
Okay, good.
Like I was
Good.
fully expecting you to tell me like that line I really remember from It's Pat
Uh-huh.
was not in the movie.
Okay.
Like that short story I remember.
Yeah.
I have this memory of reading a short story in in like high school or junior high or something, and an old woman who's like dying in her bed says to her like son or something, she says, "In my last days, I want just to lie with all the men. I want to open my window and let all the men of the town come to me. The big men, the small men, old men, young men, wise men, poor men."
This is so
And
obviously not a short story they would have us read in middle school.
it's like it's the memory is like erotically tagged for me because of the term big men. Like
Well, because this woman wants to be gangbanged. What do you mean? For some reason, this is tagged as sexual.
it was yeah, like so I remembered it forever, but then when I went searching for it, does anyone here among our listenership know what I'm talking about? It was like Ethan Frome. Was that a scene in Ethan Frome or something?
Definitely not. I'm picturing more like a Faulkner short story. I was
No,
picturing a southern town.
no, it's a more Fromey.
See, I was thinking like a rose for Emily.
Oh yeah, wait, A Rose for Emily. I
Yeah.
think AI recommended that to me as a possibility.
Because Matt went to AI to ask where this story was.
Yeah, and sometimes AI would be like, "Yes, I know that story. It's the story A Cabin for Mother, in which she says, 'Cast open the window and let the men of the town come to me, old and young, fat and thin.'" And I'd be like, "Yeah, oh my god, that turns out the AI was just riffing and making shit up." You know, who's confident, overly confident is
AI.
AI.
Yeah.
It's idiotic. These new Google AI searches,
Oh, I
I don't
know.
trust them.
Well, no one does. Hasn't it been like an epic fail so far?
It's been an epic fail so far.
But it'll get there, don't you think?
I still would never trust it. I want to know where my advice is coming from.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But for a quick answer or a search for, then you can Google the story.
No, because I really don't think it has the nuance for it. Like if I ask it like what's the ratio for cooking couscous, like
Yeah, yeah. I have a question. Do you remember the book that your school book?
what do you
You
mean?
know how like when we were in middle school when we read all those short stories or like freshman year of high school, at least for us, we had like a book, a
A book
textbook
of them.
with all of that.
Yeah. I
If you
don't
could find that
remember.
book, you could find the index or the table of
Find
contents.
find that book, and there you shall find your big men, small men, old men, young men, rich men, poor men.
It's like literally impossible to believe, but I do believe there was a short story that mentioned big men.
Like, but the memory is so specific. They come through the window.
Big men coming through the window. That's what we're looking for.
A a dying old woman who wants who's like she's done being good.
Sure. She just wants to let the soft animal of her body love what it loves.
Yeah. I think AI also suggested like story of an hour. I'm like, no, you're getting colder.
Story of an hour? I don't remember that.
Kate Chopin,
No. The necklace? They're like, the necklace.
the necklace.
The scarlet ibis.
My dear, they were imitation diamonds. It barely cost me a farthing. Why didn't you have this conversation sooner?
What was the point of that story? Materialism?
I don't know what the point of it was.
Or like, don't lose your friend's diamonds?
Yeah, don't
Be
like live
honest?
above your station because you'll end up lower than your station.
I mean, all she did was borrow a necklace from a friend.
Yeah. I don't know.
Don't make assumptions that everyone's richer than you.
Yeah, it was a stupid kind of story. They should stop making kids read it.
Mm.
I think the youth can do without the necklace.
Are we still reading these Are the kids still reading these types of short stories? Oh.
Yeah, the Scarlet Ibis, the necklace, the lottery's kind of cool.
The lottery is
Keep the lottery.
Keep the lottery. Yep.
Scarlet Ibis, I remember being bored by.
It's so awful. Yeah. It's like, oh no.
Oh wait, what about the Summer Kitchen?
I don't remember that one.
It's like a family, and the daughter had cancer, but then she was in remission, and her hair grew back a different color.
Oh.
And there was a summer kitchen.
Like an
somewhere.
outdoor kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, to get a short story in one of those readers for all eternity.
I was just thinking that's you've really made it as a writer.
Yeah, what the gift of the Magi?
Yeah.
Why is it called that?
I don't know, but I think the point of the necklace is similar to the point of the gift of the Magi, which is just like seeing someone. I think it's just like, I think it's almost like a Greek tragedy. Like there is no moral to the story. It's just like, look at how this person was like screwed by fate.
Yes. Alrighty. Anything else to say about confidence?
I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it's like it's how to be, but don't focus on it too much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it. You're confident enough. Don't feel insecure about your confidence, because then you're really screwed.
Then you're just in a circle. Yeah, a circle of misery.
An endless ring.
A ring of endless light.
A ring of endless light.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Matt. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.